faced, obviously, with the injuries, to make a statement that we are here, that we really want it. I think there were two very different halves. The first one, we lacked some urgency and we're very inconsistent, especially on simple things with the ball and without the ball. But the second half, we picked it up and we managed to win the game.
And you talked before the game, you were joking with Martin about being creative, maybe centre-backs, but you brought on Mikel Merino. What did you say to him when he came on?
He was going to score. I mean, he's a real growth threat. The moment that they were defending a little bit deeper and we were more established and more set in the final third, we thought that he could deliver those moments, but then easier to say that to get it done, and he was brilliant.
Do you see real similarities in his characteristics to Kai Havertz?
Because of the height? No, I think they are very different. Mikel's never played as a 9, but he's got that timing, that smell, that he can smell danger, he can anticipate the situation, and then he can execute, obviously.
Did you work on it in the week with him playing in that role? Because he seemed to, in the interview afterwards, he was saying, well, it was almost told this morning that, no, you're going to come on, that's where you're going to play.
Yeah, because I didn't want it was a lot of debate. I didn't want to drive them crazy. So I said to him this morning that he might play there if the game was, we believe that he could sit him in that moment, depending on the game context, and he did, and he won the game for us.
Can I ask you about the young players, Miles Skelly and Nwaneri? Miles Skelly, a crucial defence at the far post, but Nwaneri today, what a beautiful footballer.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the two they were involved in two of the biggest moments of the game. One when he just touches that ball, that is, if not, is a goal on the counter, the giveaway that we have in the middle, and then Ethan, that every time, first half even, every time he was on the ball, he looked a threat. I think he put one on the crossbar, one on the post, and he put a beautiful cross for the goal as well.
Is it almost like you feel a big responsibility to have a young player like that to protect him as well? Because we were hearing the Arsenal fans and he really excites them, but he can't play every minute. He's still a young player, but he's so important to you, isn't he?
Yes, and at the moment as well, with the injuries that we have, but I think when you see their behavior and naturally how they're behaving on the pitch, let them go as well. Something is to protect them, but as well take the handbrake off. And if they are ready to go to that pace, why we should stop him? Because they are 17. And I think they both have an unbelievable environment at home and with the people at the club. And slowly but firmly.
And how are you feeling about the gap now? 4 points. Could have been 9, couldn't it? We both played
much better.
We both played for Everton. And that result in midweek was incredible. And it's ended up a decent week, hasn't it?
It is. Let's see what happens now. But we have to do what we can is in our control. And, you come to any ground and it's just a nightmare. It's a battle. It's very difficult. You have to be at your best to win. And it's going to be a long run.
And Mikel, obviously, there was so much talk about the injury to Kai this week, how you would deal with that challenge. You've responded today with the win. What kind of message does that send your title rivals ahead of their game? Because it's some early pressure you've put on them this weekend. Yeah,
that we really want it, that regardless what happens or difficulties that we're going to face, that we're going to give it a real go, that the team really wants it. We've been 7-8 months already working on that, and we're not going to stop, and let's see how far we can go.
And Marino, when he spoke to Becky at the end of the game, he basically said he didn't think he would continue playing there, but do you see him as a solution going forward until you get players back?
Let's enjoy this one, analyse it, and let's move into the next one. Yeah.
Mikel, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Look, you did the job that you needed to do coming off the bench. What was the instruction from Mikel Arteta at that point?
Well, he told me I was going to come in as a striker. Actually, this morning we were talking about it a little bit with one of the assistants. Honestly, it was a surprise because it's the first time in my career that I play in that position. But yeah, he told me to go as a striker, to make sure I go with my strengths. I think I showed it, and yeah, luckily I could help the team with 2 goals today.
Well, yeah, a brace, the first time you're ever playing a striker centre forward. Is this something we're going to see more of now?
I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. It's funny because I've only scored 2 more braces in my career, and it's the first time I scored a brace coming off the bench as a striker. But I think it's a good day to score because I forgot to give my wife some Valentine's Day, so this goes to her. I think she will appreciate this more than a rose or some chocolate.
Absolutely, always about the family, but it needed something, did this game, didn't it? Because it was a tough afternoon for Arsenal.
Yeah, today was a tough game. We knew coming here to this amazing stadium with this team battling relegation, it was going to be tough, but I think these games are the ones who live the spirit. Obviously, with these amazing fans behind us, everything is easier. So thank you to them, thank you to everyone at home pushing and rooting for us. And I mean, this is an amazing team, and games like today are really good for the squad.
Ethan Nwaneri, he put that ball into the box 4 or 5 times before you were even on the pitch today, but just how good is he for such a young age?
Yes, he's an amazing player. Every time I do an interview, you guys ask me for him, but I mean, it's natural because he's such a talent. Luckily for him, today he crossed the ball. I've been talking to him the whole season that I needed those kind of balls when I'm arriving in the box, and he has such a wonderful left foot that he put it right in my head, so I could only score.
Look, you have closed the gap at the top of the table now, just to 4 points. How important is that? Even though there's still games to go, got to take every opportunity?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is a long season. We have been talking about it since the beginning. This is a long run, and we have to keep the foot on the gas. And I think if we keep doing this job, putting pressure on every single game, good things will come in the future.
Mikel, thank you for talking to me. Well done.
Thank you very much.
They are certainly keeping the pressure on. Mikel Merino there, dedicating those 2 goals to his wife on Valentine's weekend off the bench to send Arsenal 4 points behind Liverpool today. The first time he has ever played striker. We'll have plenty more reaction to that win for the Gunners here from the King Power. And also we have another huge midweek of football on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus, including the draw, the possibility of extra time and penalties. Next Wednesday in particular is going to be massive, with a bonus Premier League game that I'm sure that Arsenal fans are going to have a very close eye on, as Liverpool travel to Villa and Manchester City will be at the Bernabeu looking to turn things around against Real Madrid in their knockout phase playoff. And away from the football pitch, we are just 1 week away from the huge rematch between Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol in Riyadh, and one of the greatest cards ever assembled. The gantry, and Joey, it was hard work for Arsenal out there today, but Mikel Arteta may have found the answer up front.
It was cold up in the gantry as well. I hope you enjoyed the lovely warm studio.
Lovely, thank you, Joe.
We had a nice cup of tea.
Yeah, lovely. No, listen, it was hard fought. It really was. Merino coming on obviously makes the difference with the goals, but I think what just giving them that physical presence. I understand why Mikel Arteta didn't play him there from the start and thought maybe we can break them down with our movement. But as the game got stretched and Nwaneri was getting a little bit more time, Trossard on the other side, and the crosses were coming in, he beautifully just placed himself, and the finishes were that of a centre forward, weren't they, Martin?
Yeah, and you think now he's suddenly looking like an incredible week. You know, that late equaliser at Goodison sets it up. Now the gap is closing down to 4 points. It's been ages since it's been 4 points. Could have been 9 points. So all in all, what looked like it started as a bad week, Havertz getting injured, is now looking like it's turning around. But, you know, they've done an amazing job. The manager talked about finding solutions. That was inspired. Put a fullback on to play as an inverted striker, so to speak. Then he'd be called a genius if it was Pep. But now, look, is he a genius? I mean, he's picked out a player off the bench. He was told, look, you're going to be a centre forward. He looked shocked, actually. We were discussing it back. Just this morning, someone said, you're going to come on. And, you know, he scored 2 really important goals.
Inspired a bit by Marouane Fellaini, do you think?
Well, listen, I think technically Marino's a very, very good footballer. He wasn't brought in for the job he done today, but listen, these lads who come through these academy seasons around the world, they're so well drilled. They understand positions. You know, good players can play in multiple positions. Whether he's the man that can do that for the next 12, 13, 14 games, however long left of the season there is, that's yet to be seen, but certainly today he done his job.
But Mourinho, the story from the Arsenal point of view, he comes to the club fresh to play. He breaks a bone in his shoulder blade, and he's out for 6 weeks. And it's all part of the story, isn't it? But now he's playing a part. But we've had to be patient, and he's had his day celebrating with the fans, and it gives you that warm feeling. Now it's over to Liverpool, isn't it?
He said to Becky at the end he didn't think that he would carry on playing there, but Mikel Arteta might have different ideas when he looks back at the finishes for the 2 goals. The first one, though, Martin, I know you want to wax lyrical about the ball from Nwaneri as well.
Well, I mean, we said about this young man, he hitting the woodwork, wasn't he, all over the place, and what a ball that is. He put one of those in the first half, teasing pass, it's on the money. He just needs to look, and he wants to find the line. You know, what sort of ball can I put in? Okay, I need to find that line. And look at this. It's almost exactly perfect. And Moreno there comes in, goes into the box. No problem with the finish. It's a great finish.
He does everything right with the finish, doesn't he? He gets up, neck muscles, guides it into the corner. Nwaneri, 3 or 4 occasions in the first half, he's put that exact same ball, and there wasn't Moreno there.
And it's almost like Saka, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, to be honest, it's a huge leg up for the club, because you lose Saka and you've almost got his twin out there. I mean, it's high praise for him. Another great finish there. He arrives in the box deep. He sees that. He's running from distance. Nobody really picking him up, as well as Leicester had done for large periods. You know, this was he's got nobody near him, and he's just patient, just times his run, makes sure he stayed on side, which was a problem in the first half. I think 4 times Arsenal running offside, trying to get their rhythm, and a great ball in as well from Trossard.
Great ball in from Trossard.
He came on for Raheem Sterling in the 69th minute. Trossard then moved out to the left. Would you be starting with that lineup that they finished with then at the end?
I think Mikel Arteta, it wasn't Raheem's day. It wasn't his day. He wasn't at his best. Trossard looked a bit lost, floating in off the 9 as well. So ultimately, Nwaneri off the right was the one who was causing all the trouble for Leicester. Moreno coming on puts him in pole position. I think they just looked, we're having that physical element in the middle of the park, Martin, someone who can threaten the centre halves, and that made them look more balanced. And Trossard as well looks just comfortable off there, and he showed that with a cross. You know, it was a brilliant ball from Odegaard and Calafiori. He's got the ball and he just fed it into an area. You know, so all the good things come where Trossard's playing in his right position, and where he's playing in his right position, and Moreno give you that physicality and that presence in the middle of the pitch.
You were saying in commentary, it's your first time today watching Ethan Nwaneri live today. You absolutely loved it. If he's this good, guys, at 17, how good can he be?
Yeah, I mean, where will he end up playing? You know, when Saka, a nice problem to have when Saka comes back available from fitness. I mean, we've still got Martinelli and Saka to think about to come along later on. So, you know, this is a kind of a rescue operation for Arsenal and this young man was I thought he's immense coming in off the line. He's so confident. He steps into the ball, Joe, and he's aggressive when he travels with it. Look, he's trying to find his range. Declan Rice trying to get into that position. They couldn't find him, but he looks so assured for such a young man. He steps in and makes the right pass. His decision-making is different class.
Yeah, decision-making. And do you know what? He's a strong little thing as well. He's like, that strike there,
hitting the bar there.
The bar with their left foot, right foot. You can't mark him because he can go both ways. Christensen's got stood up a couple of times here. Do you know what these touches he produces in and around the box? These little tiny touches. You know, I don't even want to say it, but it's like Messi. You know,
yeah, but the skill.
I've said it. But all I'm saying, he's not. Listen, I don't want to put any more pressure on the kid's shoulders. I'm sure he'll deal with it. But the touches he makes as he receives the ball off the back foot entices the defender, and then a little touch off the top of the toe to put him off balance. He plays with such you know, just confidence, and he's just a beautiful player. The one thing I would say is, and I know he has already had a hamstring injury this year, Arsenal and Mikel Arteta have to protect him. They're chasing the game now. I would imagine there would have been conversations where we need to make sure he's ready for next week. Maybe 60 minutes today, 70 minutes. You don't want him to get into the same situation where he's like a Michael Owen, where he's relying on it.
I like the way you whispered the Messi word, though, Joe. You don't want to put that pressure on him. But Joe, you don't want to put that pressure on him. But Joe is right. They are going to need to protect him,
He's only getting a chance,
though,
Coach Saka is out, and it's testament to the depth that the club have. The academy is buzzing now, seeing 2 great young players coming in. You know, to Liverpool, because they'll be watching that. That was a nice cushion. It could have been 9 points at the beginning. Now it's down to 4, and this is the psychological impact these results are having. You know, it was raining, it was cold, it was looking a dreary day for Arsenal, and somehow they found 2 goals from nowhere, and now we're saying it's a different situation at the end of the day.
There was also a really great tackle as well at 0-0 from Miles Lewis-Skelly out there as well, and it was interesting before the game that Mikel Arteta was saying about the young players, about knowing when they're ready, and he said you can see it with the senior players whether they trust them, Joe, and can you see that out there with those 2?
Yeah, absolutely. And this kid, Miles Skelly, his confidence and the way he approaches it straight away. You know, young players, you know when you see the senior players giving them the ball constantly, playing he was playing that dual role, Mike, when he was like playing left back and he was rotating into midfield. That's a big responsibility for a young player to have, because you're making a lot of the decisions, when you go in there, when you don't go in there. But the players kept feeding him the ball, And his mindset, he's a competitor. We've seen that with all of the shenanigans over the last few weeks, which I like and I think's right. But them two young players there have been in this sort of semi-grey period for the club, because they would have thought they would have kicked on. Having them two could arguably take them on to the next stage, because I think they're absolutely sensational.
Absolutely. Leicester, Martin, today did really well for a lot of that game there. And they've lost 5 games in a row now at home. Lost 9 of 10 under Ruud van Nistelrooy. But it feels like that sounds really bad, but the performance today wasn't.
No, and Ndidi coming in, Akula at the back as well. I thought he was quite outstanding for large periods. For 70 minutes or so, they looked like there was a gallant performance from Leicester. But, this is the thing. When you're up against a team with that sort of calibre, it fell away. Ndidi shooting from distance, he's not so noted for that. I thought he kind of was very good in behind the fullbacks and around the centre-halves, clearing up around them. That's his strength. And we said before the game about goals is a problem. Vardy's still the main man at the top. This is an Ndidi trying to chip in at the other end. And it wasn't there today. I think Ayew was decent, travelling with the ball well. He's an experienced player in the Premier League, allowed to run an awful long way there. And somehow, Lewis Skelly, look, it looks like his foot is stuck in the ground. And out comes the toe. And that's what this Premier League Championship is like at the moment. This race, there's just a toe in it now between Arsenal and Liverpool.
Did you see enough out there today to give Ruud van Nistelrooy, to give the fans here belief that Leicester have got a fighting chance of staying up?
Yeah, we were sitting in the gantry amongst the Leicester fans. You could feel the frustration, but I know the signs. We know signs, Martin. When you see a team when they've down tools and they're not at it, I didn't see any of that from these players. I saw them, Ndidi I thought was brilliant in the middle of the park. I thought the whole back four marshalled Arsenal brilliantly well. And again, goals will be a problem. But listen, I said it in comms. I think you need to win a league of 4. You Ipswich, Southampton, Wolves and Leicester, ultimately. And they're not going to be many points they pick up, by the way, because I think that the quality of what's above them in the Premier League. The next team is West Ham. In the 27 points.
And
West Ham are miles better than these 4 teams.
And Everton as well.
Sorry,
who have
Everton,
got that 10. Well, level with West Ham, but they've got that 10-point buffer now. So are we saying that they're completely?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think David Moyes having him there and what we saw Wednesday night and what they could do against the Liverpool side. So I think they're out of it. I think it's 4 teams now. And I think I've seen enough from Leicester to know that they're still being there fighting. They'll have a great chance to stay up.
Still just 1 clean sheet all season, though, Martin, and 55 goals now conceded. Yeah. Can you stay up with defensive numbers like that?
Well, it's going to be difficult. I genuinely do see a manager that's calm. I was impressed by the manager. He's not panicking. They passed the ball much better, but their approach play was good, but not enough in the final third. That's where they need to improve, and that's where he's not. I asked him before the game, where are you going to spend your time on the training pitch? I know where it is next week. It's going to be in the final third, because that determines whether they stay up or not. Okay, they look stronger at the back. A couple of personnel changes. It might still not be enough, but I saw enough of an improvement. Ndidi coming in is a real fillip for their team.
Yeah, absolutely. He did well today, didn't he? We're going to have a lot more reaction to this game coming up, but also there is Premiership Cup rugby this afternoon as well. It's an all-London affair between Quins and Saracens, and Craig Doyle and the team are standing by. Similarities with Marino and Kai Havertz and the way that he plays.
Yeah, more closer in style, and it's a different generation of football. But what Marino looked today, everyone will talk about the finishes, the run and where he placed himself shows me that he's got some instincts, which is what you need. You can put any physical player up there, but it's more. You have to be more cute than that. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And ultimately, on 2 occasions, he was. And Mikel Arteta may have found something there, a short-term solution for what is, Martin, a long-term problem for Arsenal.
You suggested Calafiori before the match.
You just got the wrong player, Martin. You got the wrong player.
Maybe you could have those 2 up front. I wouldn't want to defend against those 2.
Do you know, it's interesting. In the press conference yesterday, the manager was saying, we don't have to think too deeply. And I was thinking, actually, maybe I was really going around the box and in the box, and you name it, because I was thinking, okay, Calafiori might be the answer. He scored 2 fantastic goals this season. Maybe he was going to show the way, but instead it was Moreno who comes off the bench and does it instead. It doesn't really matter who it is. I mean, fair play to the manager for seeing that. And it sounded as if the player was told, look, you're coming on at some point today. Start getting it in your head. Think about arriving in the final third. And boy, did he produce when it mattered most. 2 really good finishes, the header particularly. But the ball in from Waneri. Without the service, Arsenal scoring all these goals from set pieces. There's no Saka anymore, is there? But it doesn't matter, because this young kid is still delivering, putting the ball in there. And that's the important thing for the manager. It's kind of saved Arsenal a fortune in the transfer market. Everyone going crazy about what Arsenal didn't buy. But look at what the academy is producing. And every successful Arsenal team over the years has had players out of the academy.